being able to ride that roller coaster with someone, it's something no artist can do alone. And to be able to have a team with you to make that happen, you have ultimate celebrations and miracles in the opening of doors at the end of that path.
So I wanted to ask both of you actually, like what that's been like in your own life personally and what you've seen in other people. Have you witnessed those things, as people start to become more alive to that creative part of themselves?
Yeah. Hannah, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think when you see somebody going through the book writing process, it's almost like they're birthing a baby. And you are seeing all of the ups and downs that they're writing about in the book, but you're also seeing the ups and downs of the creative process at the same time. So we get to be the hand that they hold and the partner that they have and the cheerleader that they deserve through that process, especially when you get to celebrate the highs. And what I've noticed the most, and this is probably something that I think almost all artists go through, is the moment right before the baby's born. The moment where you are so close, where you've put a lot of time, you've invested so much into your story that you almost hit another dark night moment where you have all of those voices in your head. You have that imposter syndrome that sets in saying, this was a waste of time. This is too much. There's no way this is going to go anywhere except on my own bookshelf and my mom's. Like there's nobody who's going to read this. And to be able to see someone always go back to the core of why they started in the first place, the whole reason why, and kind of like I did, being able to say, okay, I'm doing this because what I have to say matters, then they get through that final hurdle and they get to publication day and they get to the point where there are strangers from around the world who are coming to them and saying, you're really good at what you do. You're really brilliant in what you have to say, and it's making a difference. And to be able to see that validation of their creativity is beautiful. I've witnessed that myself in my own writing. I have seen it many times with Bridget, and so just being able to ride that roller coaster with someone, it's something no artist can do alone. And to be able to have a team with you to make that happen, you have ultimate celebrations and miracles in the opening of doors at the end of that path that I want to tell anybody out there who's getting into writing their book. Like that is something that we all get to witness and we all get to be able to celebrate by the end of it, is making sure we make it to the end and that creativity gets to shine as bright as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Hannah, you just finished the final book of your trilogy. You just barely finished. And what a celebration. Like, how does that feel? Because you haven't published that one yet, but it's in process. But you just like you birthed three babies. So how did it feel to birth this last one here?
This is actually very bittersweet. Reaching the end of a trilogy is like the end of the story, right? And you are actually saying goodbye to probably not the world itself, because there's still many stories that could be told, but that particular journey, that particular arc of my life. And it's my first trilogy, so it's also the first thing that I've been able to share with the world. So going and writing the end for the final time for those characters was sad, but there's also that incredible satisfaction that I did the best I could do. I poured anything and everything I could into that. All the struggles I've been through, all the pieces of who I am are on that paper, and pretty sure everyone is going to see how it ends soon, and it's going to be amazing. So yes, I can say that is something that we all get to do, is reach the end of that story and then see where it takes us next.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that because I know Michelle would want to do that because she can't wait for it to
I'm
come
dying
out.
for it. I'm starting over with the series so that I can like make sure I'm super fresh with each of the characters.
You can I'm buying it and reading it on the day that it's available because
Yeah,
I've been like
I
waiting on
know.
getting that. Yeah, and my kids are getting into it and they all want to listen to it before it comes out. It's so exciting. Well, I will tell you because you asked, if people kind of go through their own dark night and do they need to rediscover themselves? And often that is the case. And Hannah mentioned, that there is a journey when you're writing too, which is part of the reason why I love retreats because I can incorporate experiential learning.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of you're living it and creating and doing something live, and it changes the synapses in your brain. It creates new neural pathways, and I love it for the fact that you will never forget it for the whole rest of your life. You might forget conversations in between. You might forget what the food was like. You might forget certain things, but there will be aspects or pieces of it that you'll never forget that you discover inside of yourself. And so creativity is important in all the different ways that it can be discovered. I love experiential for that reason. You mentioned it because it was this significant thing to you. I just took a group of authors to Norway. And my inspired writers retreats, it's like, okay, every day is pretty scheduled because we have an important process to bring
Yeah.
everybody through. This was different, Michelle, in that it was more loosely guided, and we did have a reason for being and exploring and discovering for that particular day, but it was all about creativity. And it was
Yeah.
interesting because everyone who came was in this act um, of rediscovering themselves. And some of them had already published and some of them had yet to publish, but there was a compelling need for creativity and to rediscover who they were and to reignite their world with passion. And it was so fun to watch this come out in people as they let themselves be away from home, away from the daily rigors of life, away from most of the things that keep us distracted or busy or focused on, something besides creativity, and allowed themselves new language, new food, new culture, new hiking experiences, new vistas that they'd never seen before. And that has an eruptive thing inside of us because we're experiencing it out here, but we're also experiencing it on the inside. And so the creativity that came out, also the woman who had invited us to do a retreat with her, her name is Natalia, and she's a professor who is also a poet. And she has a beautiful pen name. And she had the authors create a poem, and for some of them it was the very first time that they'd ever written a poem, and then put it to music and video. So they were called
Oh,
poem films, and it's something that she teaches in the university, but it was something that not one of us, including me, had ever done. And so it was really fun to rediscover something new inside of each of us. And then the other beautiful thing was to watch as the different personalities played out with each other. Who thought that they would never get along with another person, that miraculous and beautiful things happened by the end of that, and just other aspects. So when we give ourselves space, when we allow ourselves to have experiences, when we travel, when we do things with other groups of people who are on the same mission of life, and that is to be greater and to give greater, then miracles do happen. And thank you for asking that question because you can tell I'm on fire about it.